Hey, what's happening? Tim with Nomad Trading. Another runner recap, red day runner recap. So, not the happiest today. Started off good, but then I went and ruined it. Personally, I'll wait for a couple of people to join in here and then get started with my own trades. The good, the bad, the ugly. Starting this runner recap off right the way I've been starting all my red days off at the end of the day. So cheers. Soda, of course, because the YouTube would not like me to promote drinking alcohol. So, of course, it's only soda. But, oh, kind of a up and down day for me. I'll wait till we get a couple of people in here. If you don't mind, if you're joining us, make sure you hit the like button. Thank you so much. Somebody just did. You're ahead of me, ahead of the game. That's awesome. So hit that the old like button. Comment, let me know you're over there, what you traded today, all that wonderful stuff. So, got a few people in here. Go ahead and get started. So, in this account, ended the day up 91 glorious dollars. This was on, I got my notes here. Bbig, which was probably the big stock of the day, the one that everybody was kind of watching, or the one that I saw a lot of people watching anyway. Bbig traded 214 million shares today. Had a beautiful move right here. It could have bought the breakout. Would have been a great breakout trade right here above 710 or so. Then it kind of had a consolidation period here, the bullish pennant that I talk about so much. You got your pull and then you got your consolidation, and then this one broke down instead of breaking up. So I was watching it at this point, but I was looking for it to break up. Instead it broke down, so no trade on that. I watched it fade, and I started thinking, a lot of red candles in a row on the 5-minute chart. Where might this stop and bounce? So I thought, $6 and the 50 moving average, tops of these candles over here. If we look at the 1 minute, we're starting to come down to around the 200 moving average on the 1 minute chart. So I thought that was a pretty good spot. I took a small trade because I didn't know if it would bounce there or keep going down. You never really know. So I just took a small position at 619, which is exactly the top of this candle. That's why I took it there. It worked out, but I sold way too early. I sold at like 640 or so. So like basically right in there, it hit this, and the reason why was that it spiked up on this 5-minute candle and immediately shot back down. So my emotions got the better of me, and I thought, the way that pulled right back down makes me think it's going to go down farther, because you never know. This stuff is not there, and at that point you're thinking, is this going to bounce or is it going to continue down? So you never know. Sometimes you get just one green candle and then you'll have a continuation. So anyway, jumped out of it way too early. Could have easily got another, 40 or even 50 cents a share out of that. So depressing, but still a win. I was down a little bit on a trade I took before. It was on the same stock. I'm not sure if I was trying to VWAP bounce or what it was, but down just a hair, and then that pulled me back into the green. 91 bucks basically. So moving on. What's up, Mr. X? Moving on. Then I switched to let's see, what was it? The next one I traded was QTT. This one I saw the breakout happening right here. Beautiful trade on the small account, this small E-Trade account. So made 47 bucks on it. Sold way too soon again, but I bought at $4.95. I saw the breakout happening. I got in at $4.95, so basically just barely above the high of day. Perfect breakout trade. And then it got up here and it looked like it was getting kind of toppy. And if we look over here on the daily chart, we can see that around that 420 area is where it starts to have some problems. So when I started seeing that in that area, I started thinking, man, it's gonna end up not breaking through that 420 area and coming back down. So I sold it for a profit, which is good, but again, way too early, and it ended up faking me out. Continuing on, I should have bought back in, but I didn't. So then at that point, I'm up. My goal is $100 a day, so I was up whatever, like 137 bucks or something. So all good in the E-Trade accounts. What's up, Mr. Jared? So okay, so then this is where I went off the rails. We'll talk about the other hot stocks here in a second, just kind of going over my trades. Then I went off the rails. So at that point, I'm feeling kind of cocky. I talked about in other days that I had 21 green days, then one red day a couple of days ago, which was a pretty decent red day. But then yesterday made 300 up at back. So I was feeling pretty good, up 137 on the day today. At this point, over in the CMEG account, I think, okay, I'm going to take some trades. I know what I'm doing, and I'll show you where I went wrong. Every time I click on this, it gets out of that screen over there, so bear with me. But this is where I went wrong, okay? You can see this is how I have my level 2 set up, and then I have these hot buttons here, which is great, except for at that point I got cocky. So I switched to QT. Well, actually, let me look at my trades here. I went to was it QTT? I think I had another trade. Let me see. No, it was QTT. Okay. Yeah. So I went to QTT. And I start getting cocky, and I'm, not even paying any attention on all my trades prior to this. And the reason I have all these green days and all that is because I'm calculating in my head my risk, right? I've got my idea of what the stock's going to do. I've got my risk. I set my stop loss, etc. I have a plan. At this point, I did not have a plan. I went off the rails. QTT was shooting up. I'll have to look at my trades to see exactly where my buys and sells were basically, but it got up here. I think it was up in this range here. And don't pay any attention to my risk or where I'm at, how many shares I buy or nothing. I just click these hot buttons. So I'm probably going to get rid of these because that's actually could have been what happened. I know the day that I had the big $700 loss day a few days ago, I was not paying any attention to my risk that day either. I just kept shorting hundreds of shares. Well, on this one, at one point, I had like 5,000 shares at over $4, so $20-some thousand position, and there's just no reason for that. I don't ever trade that big. That's just stupid. So, I realized that quickly, and I got out of it immediately for almost break even. But when you got 5,000 shares, break even by a penny or two is still a decent little loss. So those hot buttons are where I went wrong, and I ended the day in that account. Let me see. Let me pull that up. So down $333, and then commissions on top of that, probably $100 because I was trading bigger. And when you get over 1,000 shares over at CMEG, the commissions and ECN fees can start adding up quick. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if I'm down 400 in that account, the way I was buying and selling thousands of shares. So we'll have to wait and see how that plays out. I haven't calculated it yet with the promo code and all that and whatnot. But anyway, yeah. And then on GRTS was where I moved from there. So on QTT, I ended up at one point I was down like 300 on that. Ended up buying and selling again and making a little bit of it back, but it was just stupidity. I was up here in this range here, just hitting the hot button and then panicking, because when you look down and you see that you've got 2,000 or 5,000 shares and you don't usually have that many at $4, then your emotions take over and then it becomes a panic sell situation. I got to get out of there. I got to get out, and your plan goes out the window. So just stupid rookie stuff, emotional trading, completely nothing that I've done for the last month, to get myself in a good spot with all those green days. Just threw it all out the window today. So pretty frustrated with that and ruining a green day that I had going for me by taking these stupid trades over here. The GRTS one I'm not as upset about. That one wasn't really, at that point I had got myself back on track and taken a trade that I, actually had some logic in and the correct size that I should have been using, etc. But it just squeezed me out. So on this, GRTS was downtrending all day. So the plan was I got short down here thinking it was going to break this kind of wall and go lower by quite a bit. It started to curl up. I added at 23-ish right around here because it was starting to test that 50 moving average and VWAP. So I added to the short position, and then I went ahead and stopped out when it got up here. I kind of saw it breaking above that level. It had already come through the 50 and the moving and the VWAP and was looking like this thing could take off, which it did. So I'm glad that I went ahead and stopped out at like 23.35 right in this area here. So stopped out, kind of broke through what I thought would be the downtrending, the top of the downtrend. Just a plan that didn't work out, but I only had like 50 shares of that and then 100 once I added to it. So not as big of a deal because I didn't have huge share size and I traded an actual plan and it just didn't go my way. That I can accept. It's the other trades that I made that I'm frustrated with. Clicking the hot button is just stupid. So anyway, those are my trades for the day. So if you add it all up, down probably 137 up in the E-Trade with commissions and everything. I would say down like 275-ish, somewhere around there for the day. So giving back most of what I made back yesterday today. Frustrating. It is what it is, but I kind of decided, hey, I'm going to trade a little bit more today than what I have been. Try to win back some of those losses from the other day. And just did what all traders do. Like the reason that 90% of traders are not profitable are because of exactly what I did today. I threw all my rules and everything out the window and started hitting a hot button and had no plan, no stop, then panicked because of emotions and having too many shares. And that turned into a real quick $250 loss. So don't do that. If you want to be a profitable trader, don't do what I did with QTT today. Okay, let me jump in the chat here. It was a car that to answer your question, it was a car that I found. I don't know. I like cars a lot and houses and stuff. So I was looking through and found that car. I was like, man, that's a sweet car. And it's relatively affordable. So I thought that'd be a good goal. I'm all about trying to set goals and things. So I put that as my screensaver as kind of like a goal. And at one point I could have bought it. Had I not lost my job, I planned to actually buy a Z06 just like that in this winter, because prices on sports cars kind of go down in the winter. So yeah, that was my whole plan. I paid off all my debt to where I had no debt except for my house, and was looking at, hey, I'm going to buy that this winter, and then ended up right after that in the summertime going on strike and having this long drawn out ridiculous thing. So put a big wrench in my plans to buy a Corvette, but it's still there as a goal. maybe perhaps this year will be the year. I've had all kinds of fun toys over the years, but I've sold them all when I had kids, and now I kind of want to get something again. So I've had four-wheelers and crotch rocket, Kawasaki Ninjas and Harley Davidsons and all kinds of a Camaro, all kinds of fun toys, but nothing now because I have kids. So I need to get a toy. Hard to get a toy though when you're losing $300 or $400 or whatever I lost today trading. Doesn't help. Okay, what do you think of Gevo? What's up, Dave? Okay, let's see. You wanted to know about Gevo. Let's check Gevo out. Looks like it's starting to curl on the 5-minute. Kind of making a bottom down here. Possible double bottom and starting to curl up. Looks like it's pretty overbought on the daily. Not that that necessarily means anything, but that's just my first impression. Zoom out a bit, see what we see. Okay, so we can see that it's starting to run up into what could have been resistance here on the 3-year. I bet if we zoom out more, there's probably more of that. But that doesn't necessarily mean anything. It's curling up, which is good. It's a former crazy runner. I remember trading Gevo whenever it's had some crazy days. Like this day here, I was probably trading it in these days here. But then that spike gave all the way back down here. So curling, which is nice. Don't love to see that, or that there's, you know, somewhat of resistance anyway in that $12 area. But we'll see. It very possibly could curl up. I'll zoom out a little bit on the 5-minute, kind of look at it. So it looks like it's made a move, consolidated, then made another move up, came down more than I would like, but it is consolidating up here. It hasn't moved all the way back down here to this mid-7s, so that's a good sign. Kind of like to see it, you know, stay up in this area and then curl back up. It's got some work to do, no doubt about it. If it breaks kind of down below this trend, if you see this kind of trend or this consolidation pattern, if it starts breaking below that, then I would watch out because it might be headed back down to the mid-7s. But hopefully it continues to curl up if you're holding it. It's possible. Depends on if you're swinging it or what you're doing with it, but yeah, holding this uptrend at the moment, but on the large scale, it's a big consolidation pattern. Kind of in the, it came all the way back down here, which is not ideal, but it's making its way back up. So we'll see what it can do with the 10 area if it can get there, and then again up there in the 12s. We'll see. That's my thoughts. What else do we have today? We had NGL was one I had on here. I was watching that. That one was I talk about all the time about 3 times, and on the 3rd time, don't be taking the pennant, the flag, whatever you want to call it, on the 3rd move. Stocks have a tend to go the other direction. So that was one of the notes I wrote down, is that we have 1 flag, 2 flags, or pennants, whatever you want to call them, and then on the 3rd move is when it comes all the way back down. So you don't want to be buying that 3rd move. Again, something that maybe would have saved me on QTT. Yeah, that's exactly. I remember thinking this is the 3rd move. I shouldn't even be buying up here because there's the 1 flag there, the 2nd one there, and then the 3rd one, and then it fails. So I remember thinking that when I was buying it, but unfortunately, too stupid to actually take my own advice and get out and not be buying it up there. But anyway, we see that quite a few times. I think ADXT or ADTX was another one that was really hot, 138 million shares. And again, we kind of saw that on the 1 minute where we saw, I guess you could call that 1 move there, 2nd move there, and then this 3rd move that comes all the way back down. Little harder to see it there, but I guess you could say that. the first move would probably be that breakout move, and then it did pull back. It's just hard to see now that the screen is smaller and whatnot, but if I make it a little bigger, you can kind of see it. So yeah, the point is, watch out on that third time of any setup. Any setup you see, if it's the third time you're seeing that setup, watch out. Just like this right here, you got 1, 2, and then the third move fails. A lot of times that's what happens. The third move likes to fail. Little something I've figured out along the way. Let's see what else we had. This did have some nice opportunities in it, though. You could have bought that breakout there at 340s. Could have bought the consolidation pennant situation there in the 380s. Same thing up here, bull flag in the 4s, and it went all the way above 6. So it did have a lot of opportunity. After that, VWAP bounce, decent VWAP bounce, but then comes all the way back down. So at that point, you know, it was curling at that point there, but probably would have had a hard time buying that, other than maybe a bounce off of the 50 there, and maybe holding it for part of that move. But got to have something to play off of, some kind of area that you see it holding. So when it doesn't hold VWAP, it didn't really hold this area very well. Harder to find the bounce, but it did have some opportunities on the way up to the long side. Let's see what else. I had CLSN written down. This was more of just a fade all day. It had some moves pre-market, but then nothing but fading all day. No shares to short on any of these other ones that I was trying to short either, unfortunately. That's been a big frustrating thing in my game, is that was how I was making a lot of my money, by going long in the E-Trade accounts and going short in the CMEG accounts. And now there's just no shares to short in hardly any of these stocks, which sucks. Takes a big part of my game away to the other side. So let's see. BGI was popping up, but that looked like it was, I remember thinking this is very choppy on the daily chart. It's got a lot of spike and give it all away, spike and give it away, spike and give it away, spike and give it away. So just like very choppy, not a good daily chart to be buying. Only traded 4 million shares, but it was on the scanner. So let's see. Gene was another one. That one was a fade. So yeah, good rip out of the gate pre-market from 450-ish to 950-ish. But then after that, there was no real opportunities. Just pretty much faded all day, choppy, and then fading at market open. So not a whole lot of opportunity to get in that unless you saw it in this area pre-market and jumped in. Almost 50 million shares traded, so it did have some volume. Oh, let's see what else was there. IPWR was one I had written down. Yeah, that one was moving pretty good from the 9s all the way up over 16. So tons of movement on that. Again, we see the 1, 2, and then the third big move fails all the way back down. So I guess you could almost say it was the 4th if you count this as a move, but on the 5-minute it looks more like 1, 2, and then 3 fails. It's just something you see all the time. The third time a setup plays out, it's more of a short than a long. Again, not a ton of opportunities though. I mean, down in here maybe, but this gave back too much gain for me. I would have had a hard time going long after it's given back all the way back down there. So not a ton of opportunity, and then failing all the way back down at that point there. Let's see. Anything else? I may not do these runner recaps too much longer. I haven't really decided yet. The thing is, I try to do it at a certain time every day, and it's difficult. Like I was out doing other things and I got to race home the last 2 days, and I got to race home and try to put something together to get in here on time. So I don't know. Only gets maybe 50 views or so compared to a lot of other videos that I do where I post like an actual video. Going live, you just don't get that many views. At least I don't anyway. So it kind of starts it's something I wanted to try. I wanted to try the old runner recap, but now I'm debating on how long I will do it. So we'll see. Will I do it next week or will I shut it down? I do not know. It's just hard to justify planning my day around a live stream that gets like a few thumbs up and 50 to 100 views tops. So I don't know. I hate to leave my people hanging, but at the same time, it is what it is. I'll have to go back through and look if you sent it recently. I've been getting a lot of emails. I did those stimulus videos, and one of them went crazy. So it's overrunning me with emails and comments and messages and things to reply to and all of that, which is a good thing. I'm not complaining. It's awesome. But it takes a lot of time, and it does fill my inbox up. So I may have missed it, Mr. X, if you sent it recently. I'll look back through and see if I can find it. I remember you saying that, and I kind of looked around, but I didn't see it. So let's see, we've been doing this almost 30 minutes. I've kind of gone over all the hot trades. I've gone over my trades. So hopefully you guys had better days than I did. Not too happy about losing over $300 for sure between commissions and trading, especially after making 300 yesterday. It just kind of, that everybody knows that trader mentality of, 2 steps forward, 3 steps back. It just seems like that's what keeps people from becoming profitable. And I'd finally figured it out, and was doing good for the last couple months, profitable, maybe even several months. I'd have to look back, profitable. Definitely 21 green days in a row because I wanted to see what my green streak was, which was a mistake because as soon as I did that, then the very next day was the day I lost $700. So that's how it gets you. You get kind of cocky. You think you know what you're doing. Start throwing rules out the window, taking bigger size, and the next thing you know, you're snapping your green streak, looking at a red week. Tomorrow I'm going to have to have a great day tomorrow, or it's going to be a red week, which I haven't had in a while. Unfortunate. But it's the way it is. Oh, so that's my day. Only got 3 people concurrent right now, a couple likes, so it's looking like, and only 23 playbacks. So I think I'm going to jump off of here and go do other things. Maybe hang with my kiddos or something. Exactly, Mike. Always stick to your plan. I've said in many videos before, but I'll say it again, that the hardest part of trading is, once you learn everything, that can only go so far. And then it just becomes mastering your emotions and having a plan and sticking to it. Like having the confidence to trade your plan and not overconfidence to throw your plan out the window. So much of it is just emotions and knowing what to do, but just not doing it. Like today, it's not like I didn't know that clicking that those hot buttons was going to result in larger positions. I did know that. I just didn't take the time to calculate how large the positions would be, and then I'm sitting there with 5,000 shares. So, yeah, don't do that. mind your plan, stick to your plan, do everything the way that you don't enter a trade without a plan. That's the moral of the day. The moral of the day for me. That's what I'm going to remind myself. If you don't have a plan and you don't have an exit plan and a strategy and everything with your position size when you enter the trade, then don't enter the trade. And that's what I did wrong today. So threw my profit out the window. Tomorrow's a new day, though. You got to have a short-term mindset, move on, and start the day fresh tomorrow, or else you'll get in the bad losing mindset and you'll never pull out of that hole. So tomorrow's a new day. Start fresh. Hopefully have a nice green day to end the week. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a great evening. Take care. Stick around tomorrow for tomorrow's runner recap. I will see you then, unless something comes up between now and then. Have a great evening.